Mel Kiper Jr., the top NFL draft analyst at ESPN, has updated his NFL draft big board for 2024. So on today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, I'm going to look through some of those position rankings for key positions of need for the Bears and kind of just dive into some players that I'm interested in for some potential Bears draft targets. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. This is a fluid list. This isn't necessarily a ranked list, but these are some top needs: wide receiver, center, edge, running back, defensive tackle. You get those safety in there. Obviously, quarterback, depending on what you do with Justin Fields. I didn't bullet point that out here, but that's more of like decision, right? That's the top decision is quarterback. You keep Fields, you don't need to draft quarterback number one. Decide to move on. If you want to try to upgrade, obviously that becomes your biggest need at that point in time. And before we get to specific positions here, the way I see this, you look at Mel Kiper's top three prospects: Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake Maye. That's his top three guys. These are the only three players at this point in time, it could change in the pre-draft process, that I would consider taking number one overall. And again, this is only in the scenario in Williams and Maye case if you do trade Justin Fields. I've said I'd be open to drafting Marvin number one. I'd much rather trade down and get him at like 3 and get more draft capital, but there's no other player right now in this draft I would take number one other than those three. Again, that could change. Maybe Jaden Daniels has an incredible pre-draft process and he gets into that conversation. But for now, Williams, Maye, Marvin, those are the only guys I would consider taking at the top of this draft. Speaking of the number one pick, what should the Bears do with it? Should they keep it and draft a player? Type K for keep. If you think they should trade down, get some more draft assets, type T for trade. K for keep, T for trade. Get your votes in down below. All right, let's talk quarterbacks now. You look at Kiper's top 10 QB prospects. Obviously, we mentioned Williams and Maye. He does have Jaden Daniels as his third quarterback. He's got J.J. McCarthy ahead of Michael Penix. I like Penix more. I get why he's got it this way. McCarthy's 20, 21 years old. Penix is 23, so you're banking on upside there, but Penix is pretty damn special with that arm talent. Bo Nix, 6. Spencer Rattler, 7. Michael Pratt, 8. Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, round out the top 10. Obviously, once you get to 7 through 10, you're probably looking at more like third round and beyond, maybe fourth round and beyond guys in this NFL draft. And look, obviously a big quarterback decision is coming. It may not come tomorrow, it may not come next week, but between now and April, Ryan Poles has to decide if Justin Fields is his quarterback next year or not. And obviously it's a tough evaluation. He's definitely improved, but there's still some inconsistency, especially throwing the football. But he can also create some special plays, man. Like, he does stuff not many players can in this league, and I don't just mean quarterbacks. I mean players with what he's able to do. He creates a lot of explosive plays, both as a passer and as a runner. So he's got to make that decision first. If he's drafting a quarterback, obviously he's going to trade Justin Fields. If he wants to keep Fields, maybe he still drafts a QB later, but probably not with that number one overall pick. All right, wide receiver prospects for Kiper. He's got Marvin 1, Rome Odunze 2, which that's pretty, I wouldn't necessarily argue with that after what he did in the college football playoff semifinal game. If he has a strong national title, I think he does probably jump Malik Neighbors, who's number 3 right now. Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, and then you got Brian Thomas Jr., another LSU receiver. Adonai Mitchell, another Texas receiver. Mecca Buka, Xavier Legette, who a lot of you guys like, and then Ladd McConkey as well. For me, if you're asking who I like, the top 3, I think there's a clear kind of separation here where Marvin's number 1, there's a slight drop, and then 2 and 3 are neck and neck, and Odunze and Neighbors. And then there's another notable drop, in my opinion. All 3 of these guys, you look at the numbers, you watch the tape, like, they're all special in their own ways. Give me one of these 3 guys. Like, I want the Bears to end up at the end of the draft, regardless of who the quarterback is, with Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, or Malik Neighbors. I want one of these guys running routes for the Bears next year because you need a big-time weapon opposite of DJ Moore. Darnell Mooney wasn't up to the task being a number 2 guy. If you want to bring him back as a cheap slot, sure, but he's not a number 2. Chase Claypool certainly wasn't. They had to move on from him quickly this year. Cole Kmet, really good tight end, but you need that number 2 wide receiver right now, and I think all 3 of those guys, Neighbors, Marvin, and obviously Odunze, they can come in and be a number 2 in the NFL right away, and potentially be a future number one as well. But the beauty is with DJ Moore, you don't need them to be that right away. So get me one of these weapons. I need to beef up your offense, and one of these guys would do just that. Shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's show. Last-minute tickets for the best price guaranteed with the Game Time app. Buying tickets to a sporting event, a comedy show, a concert. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's stressful. Not with Game Time. It's easy. It's painless. You're going to get tickets delivered in a timely manner. You can buy tickets just hours before kickoff for the start of the event that you're looking into. You wake up Sunday morning, decide you want to go up to Lambeau Field, buy a ticket that morning, make the drive. You're going to have that ticket in your digital inbox right away. They make it very easy. They give you the steps of what you have to do to get the ticket once you purchase it. And you know what's cool with Game Time? If you got a Venmo balance, some extra cash in there, you can use Venmo to purchase a ticket as well. So go check that out for this upcoming game. Also, I want to go check out the Bulls in Chicago. A lot of home games coming up here on the slate. You see some of the cheapest tickets available right now. Prices starting at those numbers as well. Use promo code BearsChat when you create your Game Time account today. Search Game Time in the App Store. Type in promo code BearsChat when you download and create your account. That's going to get you $20 off today. There's a link in the comments and in the description, which will redirect you to Game Time in the App Store. Use code BearsChat. That gets you $20 off right now. Appreciate Game Time for sponsoring today's show. Okay, let's go defense here. The top edge prospects from Kiper. Now, full disclosure, he separates outside linebackers and defensive ends, which is just so boomer of Mel Kiper. Just categorize them all as edges. So I guessed a little bit once you get beyond the top 4 or 5. So, because again, they are in different categories. But Leatu Latu, you got Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. I do think that's a clear top 3. Then there's a bit of a dip. I like Robinson better than Braswell, but he's got Braswell higher. Then you got, probably more day 2 guys, Jonah Ellis, JT Tuimoloau, Braylon Trice, who I actually really like, Adiza Isaac, and then Peyton Wilson out of NC State. And look, there's a potential scenario here where the Bears' current pick at this exact moment is number 10 overall, but regardless of the outcome Sunday against the Packers, the highest they can pick is number 8 with their own pick. The lowest they can pick is number 13. So depending on how it plays out, that I feel like is the range of when these edges start to go. Maybe one of them sneaks into top 5 range, but you're going to have some combination of Robinson, Latu, Dallas Turner, like at least 1 or 2 of those dudes are likely going to be available when the Bears pick with their own selection. So depending on what they do in free agency, they may opt to draft one of these dudes in the first round, and I think they're going to be in the range to do so. And I'm a big fan of Verse. I like Dallas Turner and Latu a lot. With Latu, this is a guy who was medically retired a couple of years ago, got second opinions, returned to play, and played unbelievable, but his medical evaluation at the combine and in these pre-draft meetings is going to be critical for his draft status. If you want more Bears draft content, mock drafts, draft targets, prospect rankings, big boards, hit that subscribe button. It's going to be a hectic 4 months leading up to the 2024 NFL Draft. Hit that sub button, subscribe today. If you want more draft videos, well, whether you want them or not, there's going to be a lot of them here on this channel. Let's go to center now. Just got a top 5 here from Kiper. Graham Barton, who actually hasn't really been on my radar on Duke. I need to go check him out. He's got him number 1. I've watched a lot of Cedric Van Pran and Zach Frazier out of Georgia and West Virginia. I like them both a lot. Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. I've watched a little bit of him. I like him too. Matt Lee out of Miami. I admittedly have not watched him yet, so I'll have to check him out. Again, Van Pran and Frazier are 2 guys I like. When I go through my mock drafts, I like getting one of those dudes in like the 3rd, 4th round. We'll see where they fall, but I think they both have the athletic profile, the grit that Ryan Poles likes for offensive linemen, and it's so obvious. You got to upgrade from Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair. That experiment has not worked this year at center. I think that'll be a priority this offseason. If you want the Bears to upgrade at center, well, type me in the comments. I mean, it's got to be a must. Lucas Patrick's a great teammate. He's a rah-rah guy. I'm open to bringing him back as a backup. He cannot be a starting center in this league next year, at least for this football team. So type me if you're looking to upgrade. All right, running back here. I did go 10 here. Jonathan Brooks, who declared on Thursday out of Texas, tore his ACL, but is expected to be ready for training camp. We'll see how that impacts his draft status. Kiper still has him number 1. Trey Benson, Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. I really like him. Travion Henderson, Blake Corum. That could be an interesting one to keep him close to to home. Marshawn Lloyd, you got Jawar Jordan, Rasheem Ali, Bucky Irving, who could be a good, fun player on day 3, as is Braylon Allen. And I said it a few weeks ago, I'll say it here, even though Khalil Herbert's been good recently. I think the Bears add a running back. You've got Herbert and Roschon under contract next year. With Deontay Foreman being a late-season scratch here for the Bears, I got to think they add a third runner to that unit. So don't be surprised if the Bears draft a running back once again here in 2024. And then just some other notable prospects that Kiper has ranked pretty highly that I'm very interested in here. Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. You guys know all about him. He's explosive as hell. He's a good receiving tight end. He can also block. I think he's a top 10, top 12 pick. Tavion Sanders, probably second, third round guy. I really like him as well out of Texas. Joe Olu-Fashanu, the top tackles in this class. J.C. Latham in there as well. I don't think the Bears are going to go tackle in round 1. I think Braxton Jones has more than held his own on the left side this year. He obviously drafted Darnell Wright last year, so I don't think they'll go that route, but you never know. Troy Fountainu out of Washington. He can play tackle and guard. He plays tackle for the Huskies, but Kiper actually thinks he'll be a guard, so we'll see where he projects at the next level. Jerzon Newton, the defensive tackle out of Illinois. Javon Dexter's really come on, so I'll be interested to see how the Bears approach defensive tackle this offseason. You got Devondre Sweat in there as well. Cameron Kitchens, former teammate of Tyreek Stevenson. If the Bears decide to cut Eddie Jackson, they might need to replace him at safety. That's why I got Tyler Nubin in there as well. And I mentioned it. I'd love to have Brock Bowers. I mean, if you go the trade down route from the number 1 pick, could you imagine a Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers draft in round 1? That's possible. It's actually a very real possibility. So that would certainly be a lot of fun if the Bears decided to go that route. Who is your favorite player in this draft? I think you guys know where I sit. My favorite overall player is Marvin Harrison Jr. I just think he's a can't-miss prospect. I think he's going to be special from day dot. Who is your favorite player in this draft? Go ahead and let us know down in the comments section. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, more draft videos to come. We also cover the latest news and rumors, free agency. We're getting ready for Sunday's game against the Packers, so join us for that. We'll be live reacting to that one. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Appreciate everybody for tuning in.